Welcome back to another episode of the Hammer Drops. I'm your host, Laoch. I know it's been a while, but let's get on with this. We got a lot of stuff to cover. A lot of things have been happening. October 4th came and went, and I haven't seen any zombies yet. Have you? One conspiracy theory that, and I don't know how that one got started with the whole October 4th, but you can't trust the government. And what was weird about that test that they did yesterday was that it started at 1:18 Central when it was supposed to start at 1:20. So it started 2 minutes early for some reason. Do I still think that there might have been something to do with that? I think so. And I think we're going to see slowly as we go down. I think they did something, not quite sure what it is. So I'm still looking into that. But so that came and went. But the days to follow up to that, if you didn't notice the distraction that was happening with the House of Representatives, Matt Gaetz, I stand with Matt Gaetz and I give him major props for doing what he did. And McCarthy has finally been kicked out as Speaker of the House because, let's face facts, folks. McCarthy does not have the best interest of conservatives in mind. He votes with Democrats. He is a rhino. He's against Trump. So if you're a Trump supporter, you got to be happy as pigs in shit that McCarthy is now out. There is talks about possibly having Trump come in there to be Speaker of the House. I don't see how that's going to fly over. The Democrats aren't going to vote for him. And I don't think with as many rhinos as there are in the House, I just don't see that happening. But it would be fun to see if that was to go to a vote to see which Republicans, which conservatives would actually vote for him to be in there. This is my stance on Trump. Okay. As a person, I don't like Trump. I'm not a Trump person. I mean, his bad tweets don't bother me. I think they're comical when he had his tweets. And what they are doing to him, I mean, it definitely puts a whole different spin and a whole different light onto things. But as a person, do I like how, let's face facts. First and foremost, every person that is in politics or in business, they have to be sleazy at one point or another. That's business. Especially when you're a billionaire. You made some bullshit things happen. And I'm sure I'm going to get some slack from Trump supporters, and that's okay because I get slack from Biden supporters all the time and all that fun stuff because I'll never support Biden. But, as far as Trump, a president, how he ran the country and what we needed at the time, he did great, I think. I think him and Reagan, probably two of the top presidents that we've had based on policies alone. So I'm going to wait and sit here and see what happens if Trump gets to the House, because then damn well Biden, his son, and all of the crooked politicians are going to be held accountable. And that's what we need as a nation. That's what we need to have happened, is they need to be held accountable. And hopefully that happens here soon. Have you been watching the news? And, outside of that, then you have, the border is just ridiculous. And I've done episodes on this. And 11,000, 13,000 illegal immigrants are coming over the border a day. And here's the problem. And this is what the Democrats want. The Democrats want more money for funding for the border. And that's what they're saying. But what they're not telling you is what the money is going to be for. It's not to put up a wall. It's not to shut down the border. What it's for is to put more people to process more illegal immigrants to let them just walk right in. You have down at the border, there's videos surfacing all over the place where you see Border Patrol cutting the razor wire, letting these immigrants in. They need to stop. If Governor Abbott, and I've said this before, Governor Abbott I think it's just a big show right now. Governor Abbott, I'm sorry, he is with the WEF. This is all part of the plan to overload the system, which will usher in socialism and communism. I've written an article about this. I've posted this numerous times. I've done episodes on this. So go to the website if you want to see it. It's there, whenthehammerdrops.com, and you can read it. It's in the blogs. So that's my take on it. That's what I think is happening. And the funny thing is that Agenda 2030 is no longer Agenda 2030, folks. Agenda 2030 has now become Agenda 2025. And the reason why it has become 2025 is because the 1% of the 1%, the elites, are worried because people are waking up all over the place. They're coming, that awakening that they were afraid of happening is now starting to happen. And people are seeing what the hell is going on. They're like, and realizing what's going on. The WEF is no good. Klaus Schwab, his father was a Nazi. He's a Nazi. I mean, that's that. And don't think that there's no Nazis ever. That Nazis are not here anymore because they're alive and well in Ukraine right now. And we'll get onto that subject here in a second. So WEF's bad. They're moving their agenda a little bit faster, which is actually good for us because we all know it's gonna fall flat on its face, and they know something that the people aren't going to stand for it. So that's good news. But now, if you over in Canada, Justin Trudeau and the Parliament all had a standing ovation for a Ukrainian Nazi who was in World War II, fought against Russia. You know, they say fought against Russia, German fought against Russia, but they never said that he was a Nazi. And he's a Nazi. Now the backlash is coming for that. So you have a Ukrainian Nazi that's being praised in Canada by their government, and the citizens are standing up. And this is something else, and I'm going to get onto this real quick. I mean, so we all know that Nazis are all over. Ukraine is losing the war. Ukraine is losing 9 soldiers to 1 Russian soldier. It's only a matter of time before Ukraine falls, folks. It is. The money that our government has sent over there, the billions and billions of dollars that we have sent over there, is nothing more than a money laundering scheme, because all that money has gone into the pockets of Zelensky, his cabinet, and come back to the Democratic Party. I mean, just follow the bouncy ball, folks. And all of this will eventually come out. It's not a conspiracy theory. It is true. Do some research. And that's why they want to keep on giving more and more money. And that was the problem with McCarthy. McCarthy would side with Biden and the Democrats. And what's even funnier is that McCarthy let Pelosi keep her little office in Congress that she shouldn't have, because she was actually controlling McCarthy. So, because once McCarthy got out, the speaker that is the interim speaker, I guess you can say, kicked her out right away. Kicked her out of that office. Bye-bye, Pelosi. So, a lot of stuff with that is going to be coming around. A lot more, there's a lot to follow with this. Obviously, nobody's really heard anything much more about, about Maui, because they want to keep that in, hush, hush, quiet. They're still not letting the citizens in. They're still doing their thing down there to cover it up. And we got to remember, we got to stay vigilant and remember what has happened, because your celebrities like The Rock, and it pains me to even say put The Rock into that, because I always, when you saw The Rock, you always thought, man, he's got to be, he's a good guy and this and that, and he aligns himself with Oprah Winfrey, which is, the she-devil of all. She has no good intentions whatsoever, and here those two are asking you to give money to Maui when those two are worth billions. Go figure. And honestly, none of that money, just like our government, no money will be sent to Maui and the citizens there because, we got to send billions to Ukraine to cover up everything over there. So, but there's just so much more happening in this world. It's very complicated that of everything that's happening. It's literally a movie just happening right in front of us right now. And I, for one, am sitting back and enjoying the ride because now let's get back to the immigration thing. You have all these illegal immigrants, right? They're coming over. They're going to Democrat sanctuary cities. And all of these cities, governors of those states, Pritzker, Brandon Johnson, New York governor, New York mayor, they're all saying enough is enough. The citizens in the cities are saying enough is enough. We can't handle no more. We got to close the border. You have these people saying that we need to close the border now. Democrats saying we need to close the border because it's just getting too much. And I'm going to sit here and say that you reap what you sow. You asked for this. Now you're getting it. So fucking deal with it. You wanted the borders to be wide open because you wanted the system to collapse. You were hoping the system would have collapsed faster, but it's not. And I still haven't put my finger on why the system hasn't collapsed yet. Because, the dollar was supposed to be de-dollarized essentially by now. So something's happening, and I haven't figured it out yet, but I'm still looking into it. On the de-dollarization, why it seems like it's on pause. Your government says that we have the best economy ever. But how many of my listeners out there, I would like to know, how many of you are going to the grocery store and spending an arm and a leg and a left nut to feed your family? I know for me, it's me and my wife, and we eat relatively healthy and clean and all that stuff. We don't do gluten. We don't do any of that other, GMO shit. And for us, for two people, groceries are anywhere from $250 to $300, $350 a week. A fucking week. And that's eating healthy and clean and taking care of ourselves and all that stuff. I mean, yeah, I'm sure we can probably do a lot cheaper if we got all this shit food that probably isn't, it's over processed and just makes you feel like crap and all that stuff. I'm sure we can save money doing that, but that's what they want. They want you to be fat. They want you to be lazy. They want you to be sick, because then that is making money for Big Pharma. Because that's the problem, is everybody's so dependent on Big Pharma. And Big Pharma, they don't offer the cure. They don't offer a cure for what is happening. What they are treating is the symptoms. With obesity, they're going to give you, here's these pills, take these, this is going to help, but it's not helping you because those pills are destroying something else inside of you. It's a vicious cycle. I have become, and because of my wife entirely, I have become more aware of what I put in my body as far as supplementation, as far as more holistic. And since I have done that, I feel so much better. I had chronic acid reflux. And since taking magnesium citrate 3 times a day for over the last month, I can sit here and tell you today that I don't have that acid reflux like I did. Every once in a while, I might get a little acid depending on if I eat too late at night, but I don't have it like I used to. I can actually sleep a full night and not wake up with my throat burning or my stomach burning. It's little things like that that are going to help you to take money away from where it needs to be taken away from. And I know this episode is you're probably listening to it and it's bouncing all over the place. That's my intention. I don't want to be focused just on one thing. I want you to, I'm giving you my experiences now. And I want to connect with my audience a little bit more and help you guys. And maybe somebody that listens suffers from, having that. And you're spending hundreds and thousands of dollars a year on Prilosec. And the problem is with Prilosec and antacids like that, all they're doing is killing you. They're destroying your gut. They're destroying the lining. And it's no good. So if you have that issue, go take magnesium citrate 3 times a day. And I guarantee you, within a month, you're going to be better. Another thing I found is oiling. And I started doing that, I want to say a couple weeks ago. And what oiling is I take organic coconut oil, and I take a spoonful of it, and after I floss first thing, after I eat, I floss, and then I put it in, and I swish it around my mouth for about 5 minutes, and I spit it out. And then after that, because I don't swallow any of it after I spit it out, I go brush my teeth right away, and then I'm done. Since doing that, not only is the coconut oil, it's very good for the gums. It helps to fight infections in your mouth, because let's face the fact, your teeth, they're the only bone that shows, and bones heal. So your teeth have the ability to heal, but the dentists don't want you to believe that. The dentists want you to come in there to have get a root canal. Well, you're just going to essentially take the root out, and it's going to be a dead tooth, so you're going to have a decaying tooth in your mouth that will cause an infection later. No. I don't want to do dentists, because I think they're just as bad as a lot of doctors. So I did some looking into it, and I did some research on this, and my wife even mentioned it about after I started doing it, how good it is. So I started doing it. And I can tell you, my front of my teeth, there were some spots that I had some tartar buildup. Since doing this, or plaque, or whatever you want to call it, but since doing this for the last couple of weeks, it's almost gone. So it's more holistic things like, oil of oregano. Take 3 drops in the morning. It's going to boost your immune system. Cayenne pepper. I'll do an episode on that. With cayenne pepper and different things of those natures, different minerals that you could be taking to help in your body. But cayenne pepper, they say when you're over the age of 50, take a baby aspirin to help with, keep your blood thin. Well, but what they don't tell you about the baby aspirin is eventually the more and more you take baby aspirin, the more and more it's going to cause bleeding in the brain, bleeding in the gut, and all that stuff. It's going to do more harm than good eventually. Well, cayenne pepper, because the capsaicin, and I apologize if I pronounced that wrong, but the ingredient in cayenne peppers, what that does is so good for so many different things. There's been studies that somebody that actually having a heart attack, you give them a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne, and it actually regulated and brought the heartbeat back to where it was supposed to be. So holistic things, minerals, herbs, all that stuff is probably the best way to go. Have you ever asked yourself why a lot of places, they, when they do your lawns and they take the weeds out and they spray your lawns with all these chemicals, and because you don't want dandelions and all that stuff in there. Well, did you know that dandelion tea, the roots and all that stuff are actually really good for you? They're medicinal for you. They're like medicine. They don't want you to know that, because Big Pharma wants your money. They want to keep you sick. That's why they do the stuff that they're doing. So I'm going to hop off that soapbox now about Big Pharma and holistic versus Big Pharma. Let's revert back to where we're at. And so I wonder what is going to happen next with, like some of these people that are running for House Speaker, they voted to keep McCarthy in. And they voted to keep McCarthy in, like, for reasons that I don't know. But your MTG, who I'm all about Trump, Laura Bobart, whatever her last name is, they both voted to keep McCarthy in. Okay. Laura, who's part of the Freedom Caucus, is trying to retract continuously on Twitter. She won't answer that question, like why she voted to keep him, but she'll post on Twitter, or X now, that she stands with Matt Gaetz, even though she voted against Matt Gaetz. Why is that? Same with MTG. It's because it's political theater. Laura Bobart, she got caught with a Democrat at a movie theater, getting a little frisky with him, giving him a little handy, or whatever the hell she was doing. And the guy was a Democrat. I mean, if you don't think, it's like football, or like, no, it's not like football. It's like professional wrestling. You're watching WWE, you think everybody hates each other, right? You think it's real. Sometimes it does get real, sometimes you get a fight. But here's the thing. It's not. It's a show. And that, my friends, is exactly what is happening right now with our government. You have Biden, who is going against the U.S. Constitution, who is going against what judges are saying about this student loan crap. And everybody's over here like, oh, yeah, that's another $9 billion that President Biden is like taking off of student debt and this and that. Is he really taking it off student debt and not just adding it to all of our taxes? Because that's what's essentially going to happen. You're still going to pay that back. You're just going to pay it back in taxes now instead of student loan. But I guess you're okay with that because you think you're getting something for free. All that is trying to buy votes, which is funny because he thinks he's going to buy votes when there's no way. And I'm saying it right here, October 5th, 2023. There is absolutely, positively no fucking way Biden is winning the White House in 2024. No way. With his policies and how he's destroyed America, left our borders open, you have small towns in northern Minnesota, Bemidji, Minnesota, one of the places I used to go all the time when I was a kid, having these illegals go there, kidnapping kids and gang raping them, which is not in the news, by the way. But look up Bemidji, Minnesota, and 11-year-old kid was being gang raped by these fucking illegals. She was able to escape and get away, and the fuckers got arrested. This is what's happening. And then you have those cities crying about it because they don't want any more illegals because they're taking from our resources now. Well, you get what you vote for. The shit that happens to the kids, the violence that happens to people from these illegals is uncalled for, unjust, and unfortunately, they're just going to send them back or give them a slap on the wrist and let them out. I know in Illinois, you have judges, McHenry County judges. I just saw this in the news. I read an article about it today. A mom and husband were arrested back in 2020, 2021 because their child was malnutritioned and within days of dying. And I read the article today, and it was Judge Coperhagen or whatever the hell his last name is. Coperland, whatever. These are all Class X felonies, and now they're being tried as a Class 4 felony. Folks, Class 4 felony is just like right there with a fucking misdemeanor. This is what judges are doing, and this is a prominent Republican county. And that's what's happening in our counties. Our judicial system, our judges, police, all of them are failing Americans right now. And, again, I might catch some slack for I'm not going to sit here and say defund the police, but you know what? The cops need to do better. Sheriffs need to do better. Sheriffs need to not comply with what your governor is saying because it's unconstitutional. Gun bans, all that shit. We've seen what happened in New Mexico when the governor of New Mexico was trying to do that shit. Every one of the sheriffs in New Mexico stood up to that governor and said no. But you come to Illinois, New York, stuff like that. For some reason, these governors just do it. It's because, do we not have sheriffs with fucking backbones? Or all of our sheriffs cowards and just there for a paycheck? Or do you actually give a shit about your citizens? On that note, I'm going to leave it there today, folks. I will be back more and more. I promise you that. So until the next time, take care of one another. Be a patriot. Do what's right. And may we enjoy the show, so to speak. Until the next time, folks.